What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Alolan DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. Last episode we covered Slowking and I gave you a choice between two dark types. Today we had Alolan Raticator, we had Weavile, and Weavile won. Not a huge surprise, so that's who we're covering today. For the next episode we have a choice between Gastrodon or Palossand, so either Water Ground or Ghost Ground. Let me know down below in the comment section which you'd like to see by commenting either Gastrodon or Palossand. But for now, let's jump in and have a look at Weavile. Weavile is number 461 in the National Pokédex, a Dark Ice type and the Sharp Claw Pokémon. It stands at only 3 foot 7 inches or 1.1 meters, so it's fairly small and weighs only 75 pounds or 34 kilograms. So in the field, egg group and the male-female split is 50-50, with the evolution chain being based on, of course, Sneasel before Weavile, and then Sneasel rolls into Weavile or Weavile when you level up at night, while it's holding a Razor Claw, so a few different tiers to go through there. Looking at Weavile's base stats, you can see its highest base stat is speed at 125, as well as attack at 120. Going down further, then we have special defense at 85, health points at 70, defense at 65, and then special attack at 45. So it's a very fast, a very offensive Pokemon with not great defenses. So basically, we're just going to look at speed and power here. In terms of the abilities, there aren't really any good ones, but there are two available. The first being Pressure, which puts pressure on the opposing Pokemon, so it doubles their PP usage, which can be useful in some instances because, of course, some Pokemon will, I guess you could be able to stall them out as such, or it will be useful later on in the battle in some way. Whereas its hidden ability is Pickpocket, which steals an item from the attacker on direct contact. Not very useful since, of course, you'll be giving your Weavile an item anyway, so you can't steal one. So generally, Pressure is where you go. In terms of the typing, of course, we have that Dark Ice type. It's not the best, unfortunately. Only 3 resistances in Ghost, Ice and Dark. 6 weaknesses with Fire, Fighting, Rock, Bug, Steel and Fairy, with that 4 times Fighting weakness, so definitely watch out for those types. And then obviously the Psychic community, thanks to the part Dark typing, taking neutral from the other 8 types. So not the best, but Weavile is not based on its typing. It's not a defensive Pokemon, so we don't really have to worry about it too much because we're not looking to take any damage at all. We're just looking to deal it out as much as possible. In terms of the moves that you can use with Weavile, first up at level 47 as a Sneasel only, so you'll have to level up all the way to here to get Ice Shard. Now, of course, this is a fairly low power move, they're only 40, but you get Stab on it, and of course it's priority, so if your 125 speed wasn't high enough already, you can just go even faster, and hopefully, it'll be useful in some cases where you would otherwise be taken out. Then we go straight to TMs with TM75 Sword stats. Of course, if you can get one of these up, with your speed and your now 2 times attack, you are going to be very fast indeed, so definitely something worth thinking about taking. The other TM we have here is TM84 Poison Jab. This just acts as a coverage move, so it's 80 base power. It gives you coverage against types you might not necessarily have a coverage against, and it's a pretty good power as well, so it'll cover, of course you have ice types for grass types anyway, so it's really nothing huge there, but it'll allow you to, just get some damage off against some few more here and there. Then, egg moves. First we have Icicle Crash as an egg move, 90% accuracy but 85 power, so it's a good trade-off really, and it's decent for you physical attacking, so probably the better ice type move to use. Of course you can also run Ice Shard alongside it though, just to do a lot of stab damage. And then in terms of a dark type stab, first we have Pursuit as an egg move, so it's only 40 damage. Of course it does double if the opponent's switching out, so you can switch in on a psychic type and then they think, oh, I've got to get out of here, so then you Pursuit them, they try and switch out, double damage, do a lot of damage to them, possibly take them out, who knows. So that's why Pursuit would be a useful move there. If you don't want as much, based on situational basis, I suppose, you can go for Knockoff. However, this is only a tutor move in Oras, so you will have to import your Weavile from there, which means, of course, you won't be able to use it in some competitions. But if you want to, Knockoff, of course, knocks off the item as well if the opponent has an extra bonus added effect, and does slightly more damage than Pursuit at 65, but of course won't do as much if you get the actual Pursuit off, so 15 less power there in those cases. So it's Pursuit or Knockoff, either one can work pretty well. That's it for the moves really, because it's a very fairly standard set for Weavile. It's a single set we have here. Use it in one way. You can go defensive with it, you can go mix with it. You've got to go all power, all out, do as much damage as possible before you yourself get taken out. So in terms of the moves, we have as the first slot Knockoff or Pursuit for that dark type stab, Icicle Crash for that ice type stab, Ice Shard for that priority because we are pretty frail, so if we need to go first, we can make sure we go first. And then in the final shot you have Poison Jab or Swords Dance. Of course you could switch out Ice Shard if you're really not as bothered about that and have both of those last moves, but Poison Jab again, just coverage really that, you know, you might not be able to pick up like fairy types, you can just hit out nice and hard because of course you are weak to those. And then Swords Dance, of course, if you can get one of these off, you are set. In terms of the ability, as mentioned, Pressure is the better of the two because we already have an item, and alongside that item we have a Jolly Nature for the extra speed. Basically, we have, if we can get Swords Dance off, we have enough attack, so really Jolly Nature is what it's all about. And we have a Life Orb to boost that attack even higher, so they synergize quite well, Jolly Nature and a Life Orb to balance out. Eevee's fairly standard, nothing too surprising here, maximum attack and speed. The last few in special defense just to boost that defense a bit higher. You could put them in physical defense to try and bring it up a bit, but generally you're not going to be taking any attacks without going down here, especially physical ones, so generally it doesn't really matter where those last few ones go as long as you have maximum speed and attack. In terms of using this set, you want to try and force a switch to get yourself a turn basically to do what you want. So if it's a psychic type you can switch in, and if you can predict a switch you can go for the pursuit and deal some extra damage to them, or if it's not a psychic type, or you know, you think okay they're just going to switch, I could use pursuit but I'm going to go for the long con basically, go for a Swords Dance, +2 attack, Ice Shard, whatever comes in next. Depending on obviously what Pokemon are left on their team and what they're carrying, you could have some really good success here if they just have ice and grass type, or flying grass types there for example, and you just clean up. But of course if they have some really big tanky walls, some fire types, you're not going to have as much fun, so maybe leave Weavile to clean up basically towards the end of the battle. In terms of that though, you know, that's really how you'd use it. You got to try and force the switch, get that Swords Dance off if possible, and then just start dishing the damage out, man. You're going to be doing a lot of damage with that Swords Dance, and it all synergizes quite well together and just do all the damage to your opponent. Obviously, that's going to be it for Weavile, only the one set because it's fairly limited in its usage, but don't forget for next episode's Pokemon, either Gastrodon or Palisand, so whichever you'd like to see, let me know by commenting either of those down below in the comment section. But for now, this is going to be it for today, so I shall see you next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye my friends.